Okay, we're here. Hi, everybody. How you doing? It's Bruce here with Traveling with Bruce for Monday night, Monday, June the 19th,
Hey, how you doing? It's
2023.
Bruce here.
Generally, what I love to do on Monday nights is to hang out with my loyal followers of this channel and say thank you all for supporting this channel. Those of you who are sponsor members of this channel, I can't thank you folks enough for your loyalty to this channel, and then of those of you who are sponsors or subscribers. That's the word I'm looking for. Subscribers, sponsors, subscribers. Thank you for that. Thumbs ups that you folks give us to encourage me to keep on going. I appreciate it. I like to generally come on Monday nights and talk about cruise ship news, travel news. It's typically what I like to do. Update you on what's happening in the cruise ship world, and then we cover other topics. Well, tonight it's all about this tragic story that seems to be unfolding. This missing submarine, this tourist submarine, I guess, that was supposed to go and visit the wreck of the Titanic down below the waters of the Atlantic. This submarine was supposed to be long ago back to the surface, and I guess about an hour and 40 minutes into its drop. Every 15 minutes, there's supposed to be sort of a ping coming up from the vessel to the ship at the surface, just to let them know we're fine, everything's going well. And the pings stopped after 1 hour and 45 minutes, and the timing of the descent and the visitation of the wreck, and then the ascent, there's a window of time that this is supposed to take place, and it's usually 8 to 10 hours. And apparently, no more communications have been had. And this ship was supposed to have surfaced yesterday. Didn't do it. This is Monday. It was supposed to be up on Sunday, and there has been no communication. And no one knows what the fate of this submersible actually is, what happened, what's going on. Now, the experts that I've watched on various newscasts and so on, they're all talking about the variables and the possibilities. And the best case scenario keeps coming up, that this vessel only reaches the Titanic about once every 5 attempts. It is not a slam dunk every time it works out. Usually, or many a time, a glitch happens, and the vessel, the sub, has communication issues, propulsion issues, and just comes back to the surface. And they put the ship back on the deck of the ship, the supply ship, and they work on the problem. And they try again the next day or the next day. And once every 5 times on average, the ship, the vessel, the sub, is successful in reaching its target. And this just goes to show you how difficult and logistically tough this kind of mission is. So the thinking is that the hope is that the submersible went down and down and down, and an hour and 45 minutes in, for whatever reason, the communication system broke down, and that the vessel either did not know, was not aware that its signal wasn't working anymore, and everything else was fine. It continued on its journey, got down to the ship, to the wreck, viewed the wreck, and then came back to the surface. Now, on the way back to the surface, perhaps there are points where the vessel is supposed to communicate with the ship on the way. The closer you get, communication is reestablished. I don't know. And the hope is that the vessel, the submarine, has surfaced, but maybe its navigation systems, as far as repositioning it, also have failed, and it surfaced 15 miles away from where it's supposed to be, that kind of thing. The other thinking, the other talk, is that the ship had some propulsion issues and was able to surface, but on its ascent, it was way off course, and is ascended from 13,000 feet below the surface, which is 2.5 miles, coming up at an angle. By the time it reached the surface, it was miles away from the ship, but without communication capabilities, uh, they can't talk to each other. So, of course, the Coast Guard has been called, Canadian Coast Guard, US Coast Guard, and planes are in the air, and they've dropped into the water sonar detection, I think they call them buoys, that are designed to float on the surface, if I've got this right, send out ping signals, and are looking for a ping on the way back. And they know the ship's in the area. So whatever a ping comes back from a certain ship, they can ignore that. They're looking for a specific ping from the submarine, and they recognize what that one is, if that's the vessel, and that's what they're doing. So that's all they can do, is scour the surface and hope that the vessel is found. Now, the other issue is, or another question is, did the submarine run into any kind of a debris problem down below and got stuck down by the Titanic? Is the submarine down there, and did it get entangled in some debris that wasn't expected? Because the ship is the vessel, the Titanic, is deteriorating, and the question is, did any debris fall off of that ship over the last little while that these folks are unaware of, and they're dealing with that? Let me show you a couple of images, by the way, while I'm just yapping away. Let me show you. Here is a promotional picture that was taken of the Ocean Gate submarine, but this is not the submarine that went down there. This is an interior shot of, again, of people inside one of these units. Here's another image of the vessel. On the lower right, that is an accurate photo. You notice how that glass bubble is not as large as the first glass bubble I showed you here. See how big that glass bubble is? That submarine is perfect for SeaWorld. This is a submarine that you're going to go down to the Titanic on. That glass bubble there is nowhere near the size of the other one. And on the far left, that gentleman standing there, his name is Hamish Harding, from the United Kingdom. Apparently, he's a billionaire. He's on board this vessel. He was on board. There were 5 people on board it. And he was going down for basically what they call a trip of a lifetime. Here is how the submarine is launched. It's on top of one of these here. Here's a little better picture. Here it is on top of a platform. Now, again, this is one of these promotional shots where the submarine has the huge bubble on it, and it gets released on a pontoon. Here is the actual version. The pontoon goes under the surface a few feet, and then they hit a latch and they let the submarine go, and she's on her own. And the launch worked out perfectly the other day. On Saturday, the submarine launched just fine. The pontoon here resurfaces after the submarine leaves it and is brought back to the ship, and that's where it is now. The pontoon is awaiting to gather up the submarine, hopefully. And so the sub heads down, and this is where it's headed. It is heading for the ultimate adventure, to catch a glimpse of the wreckage of the Titanic. Now, this is an artist's rendition. This is not a real depiction of what we're looking at. And you look at that image of the submarine on top of that vessel, on top of the Titanic, that is not to scale. That is not to scale. The submarine is the size of a minivan, okay? Can hold only 5 people. That Titanic will dwarf it. Here's another misleading image, but I wanted to show you the debris field, and you can see the stern of the ship, the back end there, and underneath the back, you see that submarine. That is not to scale either. That is not accurate. But the debris field is menacing and can be very, very dangerous. Typically, this is the view the submarine passengers would see. If the ship were at the tip of the Titanic, this would be about the lighting, all the lighting it is capable of giving, and you'd be able to see this much of the ship at a time. These are images here that either are or are not from previous submarine voyages. A lot of these photos I'm showing you here are likely from robotic, tethered robots that that went down below on the end of a cable. This submarine did not go down there on the end of a cable, so it can't be winched back up. Here's the back, the stern of the vessel. You can see the one propeller blade sticking out there. Those blades, if I remember, I think that each one of those blades might be 100 feet in length. The submarine would barely be seeable. You would be able to notice it, but there's so much decay coming off of this vessel now. It's accelerating its decay here, and that means it's hazardous for any vessel to be near it. Here are 4 pictures. Again, these are likely all a combination of artist renditions and some photographic, pictures put together. The 1912 photo on the upper left, that is all artistic. That is all pretend. That's not real. The thinking is this is what the ship probably looked like within weeks of settling down there. 1986 is the first series of photographs that were published in the National Geographic, with Ballard having found the vessel. In 2001, there were more photos put together, and the ship's deterioration has continued. Now, 2010, even more deterioration. If you take a look at the 1912 photo, take a peek at the part of the photo where you see the crow's nest, that long, looks like a telephone pole hanging over the ship there with that white basket. In 2010, look at how bent and warped out of shape that pole is now. That's solid steel. From what I gather, I don't believe that was made of wood. I believe that was made of solid, some sort of a steel pole. And even it is now distorted and is losing its shape. So this entire ship at every level is deteriorating badly, and there's less and less to make out. Here's the location of where we're dealing with, off the coast of Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, and north of the United States. And here is a shot to give you an idea. On a clear day, with a little bit of wind out there, you're going to have these white caps on the surface of the water. And you're on an airplane traveling at 180 miles an hour, 200 miles an hour, and you're looking down through airplane windows to try to find a submarine the size of a minivan that might be bobbing on the surface. I mean, my goodness, we're talking a needle in a haystack. So this is why these buoys have been launched with sonar detection. They're hoping, crossing their fingers, that this sub has surfaced, because even if it's down below and they lose power to the engines, but they have the life support inside is okay. They've got oxygen. The operator of the submarine can manually, apparently these submarines have what I'll call them dead weights. They have weights below. There's that they can let go, and that lightens the load of the submarine by hundreds of pounds instantly, and it begins to float to the surface because the interior of the submarine is filled with air. The rest of the submarine, most of its weight has been dumped, and now she'll just start climbing by itself to the surface. And it will surface. It will reach the surface. The problem here, though, is we keep hearing about the amount of oxygen that the submarine actually has. Here again is a photo of the vessel here. Apparently they say there's 96 hours of oxygen on the vessel. Now these tanks are inside the vessel. They're not on the outside. They're all inside. The actual inside of the vessel, as you've seen here on this shot right here, it's pretty cramped in there, and between where the passengers are and the outside of the vessel are layers, and there are tanks apparently in there, and battery systems, and so on. And there are redundant systems, all kinds of redundancy systems on board these vessels to have backup upon backup upon backup. But they could theoretically offload the weights and then just let the ship surface naturally back to the surface. Now, the problem is this: to get in and out of this ship, to get in and out of this submarine, you need assistance from the outside. You have to have people who can bolt and unbolt 17 bolts that will open the front of the vessel up. Now, I'm not talking about the little window you're looking at there. I'm talking about the big bulb in the front there. Apparently that opens up as a sort of a swinging door. And the reports are that even if the vessel surfaces, they then need to be met by divers, and they can then open up the vessel for fresh air. And you have 96 hours, which is 4 days of air. There'll be water on board and so on. But the 5 people on board the vessel, if she's intact, they could well be alive. But where is it is the question. And if she's entangled in any debris down below, that's an issue. If the vessel was in any way struck by falling debris, or the vessel bumped into something and caused a rupture, it would be an instantaneous implosion. And this gentleman right here and others on board the ship are well aware of the dangers. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. When people get on this vessel, they are made very aware, and they've signed off releases that if this vessel were to fail structurally, you wouldn't know that you've died. It would happen so quickly at that depth of 13,000 feet. The end would be so sudden that you actually wouldn't know that you've passed away. There would be no pain. There will not be a slow little leak coming in where you try to put your finger in it and like that. Nothing like that. Any pinprick of a breach of the vessel, instantaneous implosion, and it would be silent and in total darkness, and it would be instantaneous. So the reality is that if this vessel unfortunately met its end, the reality would be that what you're looking for, if you were to send down a robotic vessel, on the end of a cable with lighting and cameras and everything else, if you sent one of those down to try to find this vessel, you're going to find pieces only. And even then, you're not going to find any people. You're not going to find human remains. You may find bits and pieces of this vessel because it will have just completely shattered out. It will be unrecognizable, and it will not be the shape of a submarine. There'll be just more debris somewhere on the bottom that may be near the Titanic or may not be near the Titanic. What we don't know, again, is did the vessel submerge, and when it lost its signal, did it lose its signal because it veered off course, not knowing it was off course? And it then began to search for the wreckage, thinking that they were near the wreckage, when in reality they could have been miles away and not known it. Then they realized that they were that far away, had no navigation, and attempted to surface. Again, the good news story would be they're way off course and they came to the surface 15 miles away and they haven't been found yet. That would be it. But as the hours go by, it doesn't look good. So anyway, we hope and pray for the best, and that's all we can say. Folks, thank you for joining me here today. I'm glad you could. Ken Kareka is here. Good evening, Bruce and Jen from Saginaw, Michigan. The temperature is 75 degrees. It's very dry here. Gasoline has dropped down to $3.45 a gallon. Jen, again, we're number 7 on your thumbs up meter. Thank you for these thumbs ups, everybody. Nathan is in the house. He's number 11. We have 40 thumbs ups already, and I believe Nathan did make an announcement. He was able to pop up one of those beautiful green bars to mention. He has been a sponsor member of my channel for 23 months. Thank you, Nathan, so very much for that. I do appreciate it. We have a special show every Monday night at 7 o'clock Eastern, from 7 to about 8 o'clock, for just sponsor members every week. And it's a hangout show. You can talk about anything you want. And it's just wonderful that some of you have been here almost 2 years. Some of you have been here longer than 2 years, 3 and 4. And I thank you all so much. Stephen Butler, number 2 here on the thumbs up meter. How you doing there, buddy? Gas is $3.25 a gallon. Temperature 88 degrees. A bit warm here in northwest Arkansas. Sorry to hear about the tourist submarine going missing. Here in Calgary, we're cold. I'm telling you right now, it's cold out here. In Calgary at the moment, it is 51 degrees and windy, miserable and cloudy and humid, rainy, clammy feeling. In the mountains, an hour and a half west of here, you're in the Rockies. Snow fell this morning in parts of the Rockies. At elevation, you're in the 30s, and there's snow coming down instead of rain. Tomorrow's high in Calgary, 48 degrees. We're not even going to hit our high of 57 today. 48 for the high tomorrow. Yuck. Overnight low, 43 degrees. Overnight low in Calgary, 43. I'm not looking forward to that. The good news is that Jennifer and I do not live in a tent. We're in an apartment building. We're quite comfortable, and we'll just snuggle under the covers. We'll be fine. Jeannie Lavinghouse. How are you, Jeannie Lavinghouse? How are you doing tonight? Hello, Bruce and all TWBers. Bill and Jeannie are here for the big show. Currently, it's 75 degrees in and out. Temperatures around 80 today with rain forecast all week, but we really need the rain. So I'm glad to hear that you're going to get rain all week and you need it. That's good news. Kirk Brunson. Hi there, Bruce. Kirk from the Big Apple is here tonight, and I'm your 10th thumbs up. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, all of you, for these thumbs ups. Can't thank you enough for that. Gas has come down to $2.98 a gallon on the lowest, and the highest, it's up to $3.69. You can buy gas from $2.98 to $3.69 where Nathan is hanging out. It's muggy here in Asheville, still under an air quality alert, but rain tomorrow. I hope all is well with anyone. With rain coming down, your air will clear out dramatically. It's going to make a huge difference. Stephen Butler, back in 1992, my wife and I were in Bermuda with another couple. We went on the tourist submarine Enterprise. It held about 44 people. We went over a shipwreck that scuba divers were diving on. It was fun. Yeah, those are the touristy type subs. And that's a whole different animal than going down almost 3 miles. Yeah. Rocky, how you doing, Rocky Grasso? Hi, Bruce and TW friends from Chesapeake, Virginia, where it is a beautiful day today. The temperature got into the high 80s, but had a beautiful breeze. Gas is $3.45 a gallon. I also have thumbs up number 10 for you. Thank you all for letting me know where you are. I love it when you guys say to me, I'm watching you from such and such. This is the temperature we had today. This is what gas is around here. We love comparing notes like that. Thank you all for letting me in on this. Alan Carter, welcome, my man, from Calgary, Alberta. Nice to have you here. Number 14, Ms. M. Hello, all from Rainy Haney. Shady Hill Homestead. Hey, Bruce, I'm number 17 on your thumbs up meter. Brittany, hi, Bruce and all. I'm in for the show. Welcome, Ms. M. 1415, ask Alan. I'm not sure what numbers I am. And we've got Diane Flowers here. Hi, Bruce and all. I am thumbs up number 19 tonight. Donnell, hey there, Bruce and all TWB fams. I'm number 15 tonight. Clifford Sayers says, ahoy, Bruce. Welcome, my friends. Stephen Butler, I was a member, U.S. Estates Power Squadron back then, boating club. I wrote an article for the Ensign, the club's national magazine. Tourist subs around the world operate quite safely and often. That's good news. Isaac from Waco is here. Hey, Isaac, heat index between 110 and 120. Yikes, man, that is hot, man. Alan Carter, a part-time Class 1 driver for GES. Lee Shear is in the house from Boca Raton, Florida. He's number 14 tonight. Wet and rainy at 84 degrees here. No fun to be in South Florida during the summer. Too hot and humid. It's just so your clothes sticks to you. Glasses fog up the minute you get up, just like the Cayman Islands. It's exactly the same thing. James Baker, I hope they find this vessel. Stephen Butler, if it's on the surface, you would think they would have an emergency IRB to help locate them, emergency position indicating radio beacon. I would think so too, and this is why I fear the worst, because something tells me if this vessel surfaced, even if it were 10 miles away, they'd find it. Now with airplanes in the air and sonar detecting systems, they could be within 100 miles and they'd find them. So, boy, you really worry about that, don't you? Nikki, hello, everybody. It's 84 in Jacksonville right now, and we're expecting thunderstorms. Oh, my. Louise is here. Hi, Bruce. You are sitting on my breadbasket on the Zamdam. Oh, fantastic. Hello, everybody on the Zamdam. How's it going out there? Welcome to the show. My internet is working tonight. Yay. Fantastic. Jason Kimmons, a good evening from a severe thunderstorm in Lakeland, Florida. The Titanic is a burial ground and they should leave her alone. I have to agree with that. I really believe there shouldn't be anyone messing with that area whatsoever. What are you going to do? We'll see. Also, Nahi is here. How you doing? Hello, Bruce from Argentina. I'm in Santino. Welcome from beautiful Argentina to the show. Great to have you here from way down below. Isn't that amazing? We have viewers from Australia. People watch this show on rerun a lot. They catch me all during the week. As a matter of fact, we usually get 100 thumbs ups every week for this telecast. It's because of the folks who aren't watching live. It's the rerunners who hit the thumbs up button and let me know. They send a message saying, I'm number 82, I'm number 94, I'm 105. We just love that. But thank you from Argentina and South America, all over the Caribbean, down under in New Zealand and Australia, Asia, all over Canada, all over America, of course, all over Europe. It's wonderful. Thank you all who are here. If any of you are watching from Africa, I say hello to all of you there. Another continent, and I love it. I love that you're here from around the world and are saying hello to us. You're all welcome here. Absolutely. Yes, sir, folks. We can't pray enough for the folks on that submarine. It's a sad story, and it looks grim, doesn't it? It really is. But so many things can go wrong on these missions, and what we get when we're watching National Geographic Channel or the Discovery Network or whatever, all you're going to get are the absolute eye candy and clickbait stories about how great it is and how fantastic the imagery is. We hear about and see things like a display of items recovered from the wreck of the Titanic. Those have captured the world. I know there's a display of artifacts in Las Vegas at the Luxor, which is the pyramid-shaped casino on the main drag there. There's a Titanic display there, right in touristy Las Vegas. I believe there are artifacts on display, if I'm not mistaken, in Glasgow, where the ship was built. Someone might have to correct me on that. Yeah. Louise, I'm eating a Caesar salad with extra Parmesan. I even ordered 3 main courses for dinner tonight. Not bad. Louise, that's not bad at all. Last night, my daughter took me out for Father's Day. She reserved me for the afternoon and evening months ago. She said, make no plans, my dear father. Sunday, June the 18th, you are booked with your daughter. And I said, okay, my dear daughter, you figure it out. And so she took me yesterday to the National the Music Museum, the Music Hall of Fame Museum here in Calgary. It's kind of like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland. It's our Canadian version here in Calgary. Absolutely fabulous. 5-story, gorgeous building, brand new. The architecture of the building is unbelievable. And then the artifacts inside all of these from these famous Canadian musicians in folk, rock, country, classical, jazz. It is impressive. We had a good 2.5 hour romp through there, very enjoyable. And then she took me to dinner. And we ended up at a restaurant that is located 45 stories up. And there I am right there. We had a wonderful dinner last night. 45 stories above ground. We could see the city of Calgary looking south and west and east. Fantastic. So it was a wonderful evening. And after we did dinner there, we went for a little walk and a quick drive to a neighborhood gelato hangout that she enjoys to visit once in a while. And we went in there for a little dessert, and that was also very, very pleasurable. And it was a wonderful time to spend with my 35-year-old now daughter. Tells me how old I'm getting. It's scary. You know, you remember them when they were in grade school, then you remember them when they're in high school. And then you deal with them when they're in university because they're in home and they're not home and they're home and they're not home. And then they graduate and they kind of spread their wings. And in our case, she spread her wings. And then you don't see her as much anymore. And now she's a young adult in her 20s and now in her 30s. And you get to spend a few hours of time with your child that is in their mid 30s. Those are bonus hours because most 35-year-old children are usually now with families of their own. They don't have hours to give you. In our case, she has her boyfriend, but they don't have kids, and she doesn't anticipate any. And so she has a lot of me time, which she enjoys and relishes. And so yesterday I was able to spend a good number of hours with her, which is just a pleasure because it's a totally different person. I've had 14 different people with her name through her life as an infant and child and so on and so on. It is quite a journey. So, but unfortunately, I look at photos of me with her, and the further back we go, the younger and much younger I was at one time, and I don't like that passage of time thing so much. Brandon, I reckon it imploded, or someone on board used it as a suicide mission, turned everything off, which is why they didn't receive any pings. I doubt it was that. My hunch is it was mechanical. It cost $250,000 to get on this vessel. But what can I say? Louise, Hall America is letting me order as much as I want in the dining room, but not in the Pinnacle Grill. In the dining room, I can have whatever I want, but not in the Pinnacle Grill. Isn't that interesting? I bring my personal cheese from the buffet, so that works pretty good. Well, there you go. Louise knows what she is doing here. This is not some rookie cruiser who is just discovering cruising for the very first time. We're talking about a veteran that knows exactly how this game works. And if you've been on a number of cruises, you have your little quirks and you have your regimen and your ways of enjoying your cruise, I'm sure. And why not? I did hear today one cruise story that I guess is a few days old, and maybe you've heard it as well. It happened to be on the Viking ocean liner known as the Neptune, which is not a very old ship, maybe 4 years old. The Viking ocean line, the Viking ocean liner ships, they hold about 940 passengers, maybe max, and then they have about 500 crew, something like that. So it's a very high crew to passenger ratio. It's like 2-to-1. Whereas if you're going on a Royal Caribbean Oasis class ship, You might have 2,000 crew, 2,200 crew, but you've got up to 6,500 passengers, and it's almost 3 to 1. Where here it's 2 passengers, 1 crew member. That's a huge difference. That is a massive difference in service. Anyway, the story came out that the ship had to report to the CDC that on their recent cruise, out of about 820 passengers, 100 plus 110 came down with norovirus. The norovirus is the one where you have the tummy aches, you vomit, or you have the runs, or you have them all. You have a fever, you feel awful in the midsection, you go to the bathroom all the time to poo, and it isn't poo. It's supposed to be poo, but it's not poo. Yeah, it's pretty gross. The norovirus is a nasty bug. If it breaks on a cruise ship, within 48 hours, you can have dozens of people infected. And at the beginning, they don't know they are infected. And now the problem is, if you've got people who have the virus and they don't wash their hands often enough, and people don't if they don't think they have it, every time you touch a doorknob, every time you touch a handle, every time you touch a glass, or push a door open with your hands, you are spreading the virus that can last 2 days on a surface. So the next unsuspecting person 20 minutes later touches the handrail that you've touched, they might have it transmitted into their skin, and now they're infected, and within a few hours they're spreaders as well. The norovirus can go to like on board on board like a Royal Caribbean cruise ship, like one of these Oasis class that holds 6,000 passengers. I had a story on this channel 3-4 years ago where within 48 hours, upwards of 800 people were infected. 800 in 48 hours. It can be bad, really bad. But here's the disturbing news. I read this on another website today. I think it was on Cruise Law News. Got to give Jimmy Walker credit for this. He had been talking to, this is a while ago, he had talked to a senior member of a crew, I believe, on a Holland America ship. This could have been a year or two ago. And he had a chat with him one day, and they covered all kinds of topics. And the topic of norovirus came up. And the crew member volunteered some information to Jim that was shocking. If you're part of the crew of a cruise ship and you're part of the guys and girls in the bridge, or the captain and the first officer and the top navigator, those folks who are wearing the suits and ties, they're well paid. They make a nice salary. They have experience. They've been trained. They know their stuff. They know how to bring a ship into port, all the navigational rules, laws of the sea, all that sort of stuff. The folks that run the hotels, the folks that run the restaurants, the managers of the catering manager, the entertainment managers, the engineers in the engine room, the top employee, they all make good money. They all make very good money. They are from the UK, America, Canada, Australia. Many are from the Orient. They're from all over the world, Scandinavia, you name it. They're well-paid people, and they have very generous work environments where they might be on board a ship for 3 months and get a month off, or they're on ship for 5 months and get a month off. Excellent. But then there are 90%, the other 90% of the crew that you and I have limited exposure to. We get to interact with our room stewards, our waiters, our bartenders. You will see on board cruise ships the folks that are janitors mopping up the floors or using vacuum cleaners, window washers. You'll even see people who are painting the outside of the ship, even when it's at sea and all. But what we do not get exposure to the other huge number of people that are below deck. We never see these folks. These are the folks that are prepping our food. These are the folks doing the laundry. These are the folks who are really keeping the ship going on a basic level. I mean, they're just slaving away in conditions that you and I could not tolerate. I don't think in very long we would not tolerate it. However, I'm going to say about 80 to 90% of all the crew on board the ships, most of their remuneration comes from tipping. Now, you might notice when you're on a cruise that you get a statement at the end of your cruise. Sometimes it's in paper, but usually now it's on your phone. It's an email, and it'll show you all the charges that have been charged to your room. And you will have a gratuity charge per person in your cabin. Might be 15, 17, 18, $20 a day per person, depending on the level of cabin you're on and which cruise line we're talking about. Whenever you order a drink at a bar, if you buy a beer at a bar, there will be an automatic gratuity added to that charge. It's 18, 20%, it's automatic. If you buy a drink package, you will also pay a gratuity charge on top of the drink package cost. All right, all of these tips, unless you're handing a $20 bill into the hand of a crew member privately, all of your tip charges, gratuity charges, are pooled together through all the other passengers on board, and that money is pooled into a pot that is then divvied out to the waiters, the busboys, the dishwashers, the laundry staff, the folks who are doing the ironing, the folks who are fixing the costumes for the performers, the sound crews. A lot of these workers are from third world countries or just about third world countries, and their majority of their remuneration, most of their pay comes from tipping. A minority comes from a salary because they're getting room and board as it is. They're getting some kind of a salary, but it's not a lot of money. Most of their dough is from your generosity and mandatory generosity on board cruise ships. So the more you drink, the more tip money goes to the staff, and they thank you. Here's the catch, all right? If you're a crew member on board a cruise ship and you don't feel well when you wake up the next morning and you go see the ship's doctor, there'll be a doctor for the crew. Might be the same doctor for everybody, but nonetheless, there's a medical center. You go to the medical center and you don't feel well, you take a couple of Tylenol and you feel better now, you're good to go. Go to work, you're fine. But if you don't feel so well and you don't know it, but you've got the norovirus, you don't want to stay in your cabin and take a day off. Why? You don't get paid. That tip money for that day, you don't get it. You get paid tip money for every hour on your shifts for the shift time that you're on. If you're off in sick bay, you don't get paid. And these folks, again, majority of the workers down below, 80% of their pay is tips. And usually 80% of their earnings, they're sending home to their families through wire transfers. They're keeping a little bit of money on board for themselves. The occasional shore excursion that they're allowed to have, but usually they're sending money back home to their wife and children and their mothers and fathers and whoever else they're supporting over there. And so they don't want to take time off. And so Jim Walker was saying that this Holland America higher up was telling him that the one problem they run into with the norovirus is that a crew member has it and doesn't tell anybody. And they go to work handling food. And there's the problem. If you're in the laundry department and you're just doing the sheets, operating the machinery that does the sheets, you're not going to spread norovirus to anybody other than your fellow crew member. But the problem is, if you're one of those sous chefs or you're handling dishes, you're a waiter, you're a bartender, you are intermingling with the passengers, you're handling the food and or the cutlery and the buffet and so on, it's going to spread like wildfire. And the reality is that the crew members, either they don't know they have it because they just don't feel well, but they don't know what their problem is. They only have a headache. And so they take a couple of Tylenol or acetaminophen or aspirin, and the headache is gone for a while and they get through another shift. They know they have something, but they think it's a cold or a flu, but they're battling their way through. They're wearing a mask and they think that they're not spreading any problems. This is the reality of the norovirus. The passengers are bad enough. And usually, the reality is, usually it's a passenger that brings it on board. And the usual suspect, the main suspect that brings norovirus on board a cruise ship, senior citizens. It's the seniors. If you're bringing your mom or dad or grandma and grandpa from the senior center, and you're bringing them with you to go on a cruise to give them a little holiday for a week in the Caribbean, it's possible that they have contacted norovirus in the senior center, because norovirus comes from going to the bathroom, wiping yourself up, and not washing your hands thoroughly enough. And you have got a virus on your fingertips, and you spread it amongst your kind in your neighborhood. And when it's on inside a senior center, you've got staff constantly disinfecting handrails inside the senior centers, disinfecting every place, every surface imaginable. And it's nonstop. And you might have 200 people in that senior center, the same 200 people. And the staff knows which of the 200 people need help when it comes to going to the bathroom and which ones can handle themselves. But on a cruise ship, you got 4,000 passengers and 1,500 crew. We don't know. We suspect we know. The problem is that grandma and grandpa have the virus and they're spreading it to everyone in the cabin. And it might be that the family got a larger cabin that can handle, it's a 2-bedroom cabin. Mom and dad have a bedroom, grandma and grandpa have a bedroom, and the kids are on the couch that they pull out with the living room and everything else. While grandma and grandpa, when they're up and about, they've spread their virus all over the cabin. Everyone in the cabin gets the virus. It's microbial. You can't smell it. You can't see it. You can't taste it. And now the family goes out. We're going to the buffet. We're going to the show. We're going to the pool deck. We're going to wherever. And we're going out to about town to do a tour. And when we get back on the ship, we're going to go all over the ship. And mom and dad are headed to the casino later. And they're hitting the buttons on the slot machines. And here we go. The virus is spreading everywhere. And so the crew don't take time off. They keep respreading it. They catch it from passengers and pass it on. And the next thing you know, you have an outbreak. So on the Viking Neptune ship, 12 to a 13% spread of the virus among passengers. Huge numbers, dangerously huge numbers. And this is how it spreads among cruise ships. So that was one of the stories that was out today that I had heard about as well. So yeah, unfortunately, that's what's going on. Anyway, welcome again, all of you who are here. It's great to have you. Louise says you're only allowed one of each, one app one entry and one dessert in the Pinnacle Grill. Alan Carter, my boy, 50. My girl is 46. My kids are getting older. Adam, thumbs up number 46, watching from San Diego. Thank you, Adam, for the thumbs up. Jason, hand sanitizer is as important to pack as toothpaste. Dude, no question. You have to bring your own. Absolutely. Louise, it was about 10. What was it, 10 out today? What was this, 100 out today? No, it was only 10 degrees out today, Celsius. I was able to swim in the outdoor pool due to no wind and the pool being heated a bit. I had an audience and a few brave Canadian men join me. Robert is here. Hey, Robert. Oops, I forgot to say hello to everyone at 8 o'clock. How you doing, pal? Welcome to the show tonight. Pete Huskins, hey, Bruce and fellow cruisers, a cool 12 degrees Celsius. Currently here in Sydney, Australia. I could never get into a mini sub. Happy to cruise on the ocean, but not below it. Cheers. I'm with you, my friend. I cannot do it either. I would not be comfortable. I don't even want to go on a submarine that is a museum piece that you can walk through. I don't even want to do that. I'm just not interested in it. It just does not. I love being on a submarine when I watch Hunt for Red October. I think that's really comfy and I really enjoy it, but I don't want to be on any other stuff. Not my style either. Thank you all so much today for coming around. I'm sorry that I had to bring you this really depressing story with regard to this submarine that is now missing off the coast of the Atlantic after trying to visit the sunken Titanic. Unfortunately, the sub has not been heard from now for almost 2 days now. But a thrill of a lifetime to see the wreck of the Titanic draws people to this adventure. And well, I you know what I do? I love watching these photos from robotic cameras, but really, I am one of those that would really rather leave this graveyard alone because it is deteriorating and it is returning back to dust, unfortunately. But in any event, there are airplanes in the air looking, but I don't know what the odds are of finding this vessel and anyone else. You hope for the best, but boy, there were 5 of them in this tiny little sub, and we do not know what the fate of it is, unfortunately. And so there you have it. That's our lead story today, unfortunately. And but thank you, all of you, for your kind words and best wishes and your thumbs ups for this show. 52 thumbs ups have come in today. I appreciate it. The viewers watching this show on rerun come to the rescue of this show every week. They hit the thumbs up button. Let me know what thumbs up number they are. I thank you all. If you're able to hit the thumbs up button for us, please do. It gives a little extra boost to the channel. Lets YouTubers know there's a guy out there talking about travel live every Monday night. We'll see what happens. Those of you who live in the New York area in the northeast of the United States, a heads up for you guys. Jennifer and I, my Jennifer Aniston lookalike wife and I. By the way, I don't know if you know, if you folks know what my wife looks like. Let me give you an idea here. My wife is a dead ringer for Jennifer Aniston. Here we were out a few years ago one night having a wonderful time, and I got that big smile on my face. I mean, after all, look at that low-cut dress my wife wears. Talk about great. And then here we are. We were out a little while ago at another event, and we just have a great time. And then once in a while, we love to go out. When we're in Palm Desert, we'll grab a Tesla and we'll go for a spin. And we even go grocery shopping looking like this, just to kind of wow the fans. Jen has a way of just catching all the attention. But I love the way she dresses. So she doesn't, even when we're in the desert, when it's 90, 100 degrees out, she doesn't overheat. Can you notice how she very smartly dresses for the conditions? It might be hot outside, but boy, with a dress like that, she doesn't get overheated. A smart gal, really. I'm proud of her. Once in a while, I like to go out and just kind of put on one of my favorite outfits and go out in the town and put on my fancy little hat there and grab my cane and strut my stuff. But anyway, that's always a good time. Anyway, Jen and I are coming to New York City. We're going to go to Europe for a bit of a trip. We're leaving the third week of August, and we're heading to Europe. And we're going to be in Europe for about 10 weeks or so. But on the way back, we're not going to come back straight to Canada. We're going to go from Munich to New York JFK. And we're going to land at the JFK airport around the third week of October. And we're going to be in the New York area for about 5 days. And what we're doing is we are plotting get together, a meet and greet for this channel and my other YouTube channel called Stock Markets with Bruce. And what we're trying to figure out, and what we're going to need to figure out, is how many folks are going to want to come out to New York City to meet up with Jennifer and I for a get together. And so if any of you out there are interested in catching up with us, do let us know. You can always tell us here or send me a private email. But let us know that you'd love to get together and see us. What we're not sure of yet is we have a kind of a handle on the other channel, the Stock Markets with Bruce channel. There's a lot of folks on that channel that would like to see us and have a picture taken with us and all of that stuff. But there are a number of viewers on the Stock Market channel that would like to ask me questions about their investments. And so we have a lot of folks who would like to have a little bit of a financial presentation done. So that is a little more like I don't want to use the word seminar, but seminar-like meet and greet combination, educational, get together, talk about the market, take questions and all that kind of stuff. That's a little more of a different kind of get together. And that one might attract over 100 people. That meet and greet is going to have to be organized in a convention room, a hotel meeting room, some kind of ballroom, some kind of room that hotels can offer that can handle 100 people, 80, 120, I don't know. That is going to be a pay-for event. That's where people will have to pay an admission to come in so that Jen and I can cover the cost of a Manhattan meeting room of some kind. 4 hours, 5 hours, it's going to be expensive. So that's that channel. Now, this channel here, Traveling with Bruce, the TWB crowd, this is a little different. The TWB audience doesn't need to see me for me to talk to you about the cruise industry for 2 hours. Since I do lively weekly shows, and all of you can get cruise news through many other YouTubers, you don't need me to tell you secrets of cruise lines you don't already know, although some of you do come to here for information. But this get together for the TWB family is going to be more of a let's get together and meet each other for the first time, because through COVID, Jen and I were locked down, as were you locked down. We're finally free to travel, and we thought, boy, wouldn't it be great if we could catch up with the TWB people that are in the New York area, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. Is there a way? Now, my hunch is, my guess is there will be 10 to 15 of you might want to come out. But I have a sneaky suspicion that might not be the case. It might be larger than that. And I need to know how large. Because if there are 10 or 15 of you coming, we can take on a restaurant. We can just go to a restaurant and we can make a reservation for a big table. But if there's going to be 50 or 80 or 100 TWBers coming, that can't be done in just a restaurant. That's not going to work out. And so now we're going to have an organized get together. So it's going to have to be comfortable, with bathrooms, refreshments, good lighting, sound, and a casual atmosphere where we can hang out together. So I will have to glean out of you, how many of you might be coming to a meet and greet in New York City in and around the third week of October of this year, if we were to have a meet and greet in New York? So that's your question, and you can always let me know through a message, through this channel, through my videos, or a private email. You can always let me know. Anyway, we will get a little more detailed in the next few weeks about exact timing and then locations, and we'll figure out what's going on. So I wanted to give you a heads up on that. Okay, everybody. Thank you for being here. Pete Hoskins, cool. 12 degrees currently here in Sydney. Never going in the sub. Jason, Carnival with Emerald Lagasse has started rolling out a new menu, starting with the Dream fleet-wide by fall 2023. Donnell, thanks, Bruce, for my weekly fix of TWB. Have a great week, everybody. Larry Blake, number 53 tonight. Helen Carter, nice. Nice stuff. Folks, thank you so much for being here this week with me. Appreciate it. Thank you for the thumbs ups again. Larry, thank you, man. You were able to pop that in there. We have 58 thumbs ups now. We only need 42 more, and we've got 100 thumbs ups yet again. Every week, we seem to break the 100 thumbs up barrier. Thank you, all of you who are helping out. And thank you for being part of the show this week. I hope to see you again next Monday, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock for sponsor members of this channel. We have a show from 7 to 8 o'clock just for you guys. And for all of you who join me here every week, 8 o'clock Eastern time, we'll get together next week and look forward to meeting with you yet again. Jamie, love watching you, Uncle Bruce. Thank you, Jamie. Stephen Butler, thank you for being here. Thanks, Jen, Bruce, and the TWB family. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Jamie and Alan and Larry and Donnell and Jason and Pete and Robert and Louise, all of you. I do appreciate you all being here. Good night, everybody, says Robert. Have a great rest of the week. We'll see you next Monday right here for the big show, 8 o'clock Eastern time. I look forward to getting together with you then, and we'll get together yet another time. All right, everybody, from Calgary, it's Bruce saying good night from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now. Oh, and Jason, thanks. Robert from Boston. There's our Boston guy. We were wondering. Now we know who it is. There you go.